Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to call to order the Culver Town Council meeting for Tuesday, December 14th, 2021. Roll call, please.
William Clevenger.
Present.
Bill Giffen.
Here.
Sally Ricciardi.
Here.
I don't know where Rich is.
I have to wait.
We will.
I got too many papers tonight.
I probably had
Who's
some.
sending out
I'm
all
sorry,
these
I had
papers?
some in front of you too.
Yeah,
I always print for all of you.
ladies, you have to.
Speak the devil.
Good.
Roll call.
William Clevenger.
Present.
Bill Giffen.
Here.
Sally Ricciardi.
Here.
Rich West.
Present.
Bill Hanson.
All stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, notice to everyone that this meeting is being broadcast via Microsoft Teams and is being recorded. Participation in the meeting is your consent to being recorded and to the rebroadcast of the recorded meeting. The recorded meeting will be available for viewing on the town's YouTube channel. Now, everyone in the room and online, please mute your cell phone. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is the approval of the November 23rd, 2021 meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
I'll second.
Motion made by Rich, seconded by Sally. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next is approval of the October and November financial reports. I've taken a look at them. Has everybody got them and read them? Is there a motion to approve October? Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Bill Clevenger, seconded by Rich to approve the October and November financial reports. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. Next is first reading of ordinance 2021-013. An ordinance to establish traffic control regulations. No parking. You want me to go ahead and read it? Everybody got it? You want me to read it or?
I'll wait reading the, read by title only.
Sure. Ordinance 2021-013, an ordinance of the town of Culver to establish traffic control regulations / no parking. It's short enough. Whereas the town of Culver, Indiana has control over the streets and alleys of said town and have established certain traffic regulations to install signs and other traffic control signals at different locations around town. And whereas the town of Culver is having installed a new electric charging station that needs to be easily accessed for use by those using the electric charging station. Now, therefore, it is ordained by the town of Culver as follows: the articles of the Culver Code of Ordinance that include parking restrictions on the town streets and alleys shall be amended by adding a new section that provides that there shall be no parking on Jefferson Street near the new electric charging station. Number 2, no parking signs shall be erected in the area where parking is prohibited by gasoline-powered automobiles, and only electric automobiles utilizing the electric charging station are permitted in the designated area. 3, the Culver Street Department shall cause to be placed and maintained official signs and markings regarding the operation of vehicles in the no parking zone except for electric vehicles, and shall work in conjunction with the Culver Police Department concerning the regulation of the parking of vehicles in said areas. 4, any person in violation of this ordinance is subject to the standard fines and costs that has been previously adopted by the town of Culver. Any questions or comments?
Make motion.
Motion been made to approve ordinance 2021-013. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Sally, seconded by Rich to approve ordinance 2021-013, an ordinance of the town of Culver to establish traffic control regulations. No parking. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Motion carries.
Move to suspend rules and pass on second and third.
Motion made to suspend rules and pass on second and third by Bill Clevenger, second.
Second.
Seconded by Rich. Sorry, Rich. Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, we have ordinance 2021-014, an ordinance of the town of Culver authorizing the placement of the traffic control signs at a specified location within the town of Culver, Indiana. It reads, whereas the town of Culver has control over the streets and alleys of said town and have established certain traffic regulations to install signs and other traffic control signals at different locations around town. And whereas due to safety concerns, it is necessary to establish signs on certain streets of said town to assist in the proper flow of traffic. Now therefore, it ordained by the Culver Town Council as follows. 1, effective upon passage of this ordinance, a stop sign shall be replaced on Cavalier Drive at the intersection of Sand Hill Boulevard in order to control the flow of traffic on those two new streets. 2, any person failing to stop on Cavalier Drive, violation of this ordinance is subject to the standard fines for said violation as has been previously adopted by the town of Culver. Any questions, any comments on it?
I move that we approve ordinance 2021-014.
Motion made by Rich. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Sally. All those in favor to approve ordinance 2021-014, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Motion to suspend rules and approve on second, third read.
Motion made by Bill. Is there a second to approve and suspend rules?
Second.
Reading second and third reading,
I'll second.
made by Bill Clevenger and seconded by Sally. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Next, first reading on ordinance 2021-015. An ordinance of the town of Culver to establish a one-way street and other traffic restrictions on portions of Washington Street. Looks like we have a typo on Washington. Whereas the town of Culver has control over the streets and alleys of said town and have established certain traffic regulations to install signs and other traffic control signals at different locations around town. And whereas the town has previously established Coolidge Court as a one-way street going south from Lakeshore Drive, the town wishes to establish Washington Street being between Coolidge Court and Lake Street as a one-way street going west. Now therefore be it ordained by the Culver Town Council as follows. 1, a new article shall be added to the Culver Code of Ordinances, providing that Washington Street shall be a one-way street going west from Coolidge Court to Lake Street. 2, this ordinance shall take effect from and after its approval and adoption. Looks like we also have another typo on Coolidge in the,
It wasn't.
oh, we don't have it. Okay, I'm bad.
I don't know.
I put it on my template.
Oh.
Okay,
You didn't have my chicken scratch.
okay. Is there a motion to approve ordinance 2021-015?
I will make a motion to approve ordinance 2021-015, correcting it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Rich, seconded by Sally. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion to suspend rules and pass on second, third reading ordinance 2021-015.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Bill Clevenger, seconded by Sally to suspend the rules and approve ordinance 2021-015 on second and third reading. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
But you might want this one.
Yeah. I will see, yeah, we will. There was nothing on it.
Village or Washington, yeah.
I-
No.
I didn't see that it clarified anything.
No.
Issue.
And if there is, it's something that can be amended at a later date.
Right.
Okay, next, first reading on ordinance 2021-016 for the 2022 salary ordinance. Any discussion?
I have a point I'd like to make. I'm willing to give up the raise for next year for council members.
Is it shown on the?
It's
Yeah.
not shown on there. What, I'm trying to recall back to when we had the work session about this. I had proposed that council members get a raise of $200 for the year, and that the president of council, whoever that person be, there'd be $100 a month difference between the salary level for the council members and then the president of council, or $100 a month. That was my recommendation at that time. I really look at these positions as for what we do and for the extra time that's put in by the council members as well as the president on an annual basis. It's all based on the position. It's not based on the individual, which is so important in my opinion. And over the past year, I know all council members involved have put in an awful lot of time and effort. We all sit on different boards and commissions and have input there. And it's a reward for a job being well done. That's
Yeah.
my comment.
Yeah, I respect that, Bill, and I know it's not for the individual, it's for the person, but basically the difference between what we have now is 167 and the, bi-monthly, but again, I mean, it's not gonna make a difference to anybody, at least in my particular situation, whether I get 211 or 167, but I also think that, we're in a tough, difficult time now. And people are being squeezed and we've got rampant inflation and one thing, the other. And I think that, we'd be sending the wrong message to the people if we raise our salary. I think that, maybe the following year, but I don't think this is the year to do it.
I understand what you're saying and I appreciate that. I think if you're taking that approach with us, you'll have to look at across the board for other salary increases too. Cause that could send the wrong message too. But, you know, that's why we have this ordinance and that's why we have the discussion, so. Anybody else have anything they want to say? Sally?
I
Not just,
basically in agreement, because it is kind of tough times right now, with our budget as well as everything else. I have no problem with foregoing.
Rich?
I don't have a problem personally with foregoing the, I do think the message is probably not the right one, and incremental that I think I support what Bill and Sally have said. Bill C and Sally have said.
So is there a motion to approve, ordinance 2021-016 on first reading?
That amendment, or how are we?
You know, will we put an amendment in there?
Well, it's not in there.
It's not.
It's not in there.
If you look at the act, the salary ordinance, it's not, a raise is not.
Oh, it is not.
No, it's not.
Okay, so the 192.30 is.
That's
correct.
Yeah.
That's
the
current.
one?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's, all right. I was thinking the net from the 192 there. Okay, yeah, if this is what it's been.
It's what it's been.
Rich, did you make the motion?
No, not yet, because I had another question before we vote on it. That has to do with the clerk treasurer salary. I know, and I appreciate what Karen said in terms of creating a salary for that position that then goes with the elected position and not with the individual. I understand that, and not leading us down a path we should not go, but we talked about making adjustments based upon certifications, and trying to back in to get to a certain dollar amount based upon those certifications. And I thought the gross dollar amount that we talked about was somewhere between $53,000 and $55,000 a year. This one, I think, at the 1958, every 2 acres. It's up to about 51.
51.7.
So
Well, considering who all are taking rate, or it's satisfactory, let's put it that way. So,
I appreciate that fiscal responsibility, but I think it also, well, I think you deserve more. So that's. And I understand keeping the base established, but if there is a way with the certifications, or some other way that we can make the adjustment work.
well, I'm gonna make a proposal next year to look at the amount that the certifications are.
Okay.
So for the water, and this would cover water and sewer as well, because right now we pay per certification, it's 25 cents an hour. Maybe taking a look next year at raising that to 50 cents an hour. So that would increase. So with if you had your water certification and you go,
Right.
okay, we give them an extra bump as well. So I was gonna make that proposal for next year and instead of heading into that next year, so.
Okay.
Anything else, Rich?
No.
Okay, we're back. Is there a motion to approve ordinance 2021-016 on first read?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Motion made by Sally,
I second.
second by Bill. See, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, signify by the same sign. Aye. Motion carries. 3-1. So we'll have to do second and third next time. Next, personnel policy manual update.
So, I shared with you a while ago that we had a couple of languages that are spots in the personnel policy manual that conflicted. And so Jenny and I met on Monday and reviewed one section specifically so that right now as it stands, there's language that says you have to physically work 40 hours a week. So if you have a week where you get called in for an emergency later, after hours, and it's a week of a holiday, or you took a vacation day, you wouldn't get paid in for that, paid overtime for that extra time. Later on, it says you're going to be paid overtime for a call-in, so it conflicts. So we amended it, or the proposal is basically that the straight time will be paid to hourly employees working 40 hours or less per work week. Work performed by hourly employees in excess of 40 hours in a week will be considered overtime and will be paid at the rate of time and 1/2 the employee's regular rate of pay. Benefit hours, vacation, holiday, personal leave, compensatory time are not considered time work for computing overtime, except in the case of emergency call-in. And then it refers to section 5, which specifically addresses emergency call-ins in the personnel policy manual. So if you're okay with that, I guess we need to put it in the ordinance and possibly just pass it next meeting.
Sure.
So then also on holidays, vacation, and leaves, we had I wanted to bring this up, and probably we don't need to make a decision this evening, but it's food for thought. And I really ran into it this past payroll with Thanksgiving and the day after Thanksgiving. Last year, you passed an amendment that would allow part-time and full-time emergency services employees working on New Year's Day, Thanksgiving, day after Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, and Christmas would allow them to be paid overtime for those hours, as well as the utility department employees. And I ran into a situation where I had I had several employees that had additional overtime. So how do you figure that in? And it was a little bit of a mess this week or last week. But also with full-time employees, they're already getting a holiday for that day. So they're getting holiday pay plus overtime. So they're actually getting paid 2.5 times.
Right.
Whereas they could take that holiday another day. And so we might want to consider amending that language to be specifically part-time employees. Because I think that the intention was specifically EMS for those to attract those employees to come in those part-time employees to work on a holiday. And I think Jeff has made the comment that he would like to see Memorial Day, 4th of July, and Labor Day added to that list of holidays. And I don't, necessarily want to stiff the full-time employees that, need to come in to maybe run a sewer plant, or the police that that holiday falls on their normal day of working. But at the same time, those employees do have a holiday that they could choose to either get paid for that same day, or they could take another day. So it's purely up to you. I just wanted to put it out there a little bit as devil's advocate and something to consider. So.
Karen, I believe also we've made the exception several times if one of those particularly emergency services employees are unable to take that holiday because of scheduling, because of staffing shortages, that we have waived that or paid them for the
We
holiday.
paid them for that holiday.
Right.
And
Okay,
there's
so-
some language too that I'd like to see us maybe in the future put in there that you have to take that holiday, either get paid for it or take a holiday within a 2-week period. Or yeah, And that, you know, it's kind of been like,
What will
a-
you get into at the end of the year?
go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine, go ahead. Ethan.
No, that's all I was gonna say about that.
I just wanted to, on the record, indicate that we have either paid out, when it's not, when it was impractical to take that time, for a full-time employee, so.
And it's been an unspoken rule.
Right.
It's not written down anywhere that you have to
Right.
take it within 30 days. But I would like to see that some sort of guideline be placed into the personnel manual so that it's written down and it can be referred to.
That makes sense, just so it's not forgotten and, you know, something happens in
I'm
first of
fine-
the year.
I'm fine with both of these amendments to the personnel policy.
Is there a motion for that effect, or
Well, how
Well,
about you
Karen
just
has to
let
take a
me,
look at it?
let me put it into an
Put it in
ordinance.
ordinance form, that's what I'm
so that I
thinking.
can- and,
So, yeah,
Sounds good.
You're gonna do the amendment to the personnel.
personnel,
policy.
right. Okay. Next on the agenda, identify and review contracts for 2022. North Bend Township Fire, Visitor Center, Attorney, et cetera.
I just wanted to get that on the agenda because we usually hit the end of the year and I've forgotten it. And then we're kind of operating without contracts and then people start asking. So I know North Bend Township Fire, our fire department provides coverage to them, and I think it's $1,500 a year. The visitor center, I think we budgeted 14.
I think it was 14.
14.
Well, did we raise it?
$2,500 a
It
year.
is 25, okay.
Visitor Center might have gone up, didn't, Visitor Center might have gone up to 16 or,
I'll take a look, but we need to get that.
yeah,
It went up to 20, I think. in the
Yeah.
budget.
then it was that,
I will take that.
I know 20 was discussed, but I thought we met in between, but maybe we didn't.
No, you did it at 20.
We did 20, okay,
We did the tree commission.
right.
Both of them are.
So we'll just take a look at these at the end of the year. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, just to hold me accountable to
Right.
get those prepared and to you for consideration. I do know there's some discussion on one that might take a little bit more time.
Wasn't there discussion
Or
gonna be on
two.
Pulaski?
Pulaski County,
Yeah.
I need to get with Jeff on that one. And then,
Right,
have Jim draft his,
And
So-
if you want to do any of those in executive session, we would need to advertise that.
And for the attorneys, I mean, with with Jeanette taking on a role with, is it the Plan Commission or BZA, which a more active role?
it's basically on unsafe buildings,
Unsafe buildings.
Unsafe buildings.
She's not gonna necessarily be here for plan commission,
right.
Okay.
although I say that and then I should tell
Should we
you, I
quote
have a grand design.
Is that covered in the existing contract or should we?
It's not, no, it's not.
Okay.
Well, you haven't presented us with a proposed contract, have you?
No.
I've not been asked to, no.
Are we asking him tonight to?
that would be at the pleasure of the council.
I would be pleased if you. submitted a proposal.
That would be awful nice to get a proposal.
It would
Yeah.
include the services of your practice.
Right.
I have a question, and this pertains to the Marshall County Economic Development. I don't see that we're getting anything out of them. If we don't fund them, what's the downside?
Ginny had suggested an executive session perhaps on some of these contracts.
Okay,
I would recommend that is certainly one that I agree with you, we should talk about,
Yeah,
but I
okay.
think it should be done in an executive
Right.
session because I think there are some sensitive issues there. They're contractual.
And I'll get you bylaws that they have to see if there's any consequence to
Okay.
your question.
And we can wrap all these up in an executive session and,
Yeah, that's true.
and we ought to do that sooner than later.
Before the end of the year.
Yeah.
Give me the question.
What?
For the regular meeting on the 28th.
Yeah, what do y'all think we need? 5 o'clock?
Typically, your emergency service agreement with Pulaski County, your EMT director does a lot of legwork on that.
He does, and he'll be here to
And
discuss
that's
that.
usually just boom. And fire protection guy usually does his thing with
Yeah.
North Bend, so those are pretty
Yeah, I'll
easy.
get those taken care of in the visitor center. It's just the MCEDC.
Yeah, MCEDC. And
Plus the
others, I suppose.
Okay, 5:30? 5:30 on the 28th for an executive session?
Trying to save you guys time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, to discuss these various contracts,
Holidays.
yeah, to discuss the various contracts for 2022. That's the title of it. Okay. Regional Stellar Plan update.
I'm just gonna go straight to the town manager report. Because not much of those stellar updates are status quo. But if you do have any questions, let me know. Phase 2 is coming along. The construction company will probably be done by end of the month. And then, as we noted, Phase 2 Lake Max Trail. But it's Phase 4 they're working on, and then they'll go back and do Phase 3 in the spring. I go all the way down to the water project proposal from Midwestern. As you know, we were waiting for a utility agreement from Culver Academies. I received that earlier. And it's marked up by the academy, so I'm gonna forward that on to Jim. Jim, take a look before we finalize that.
Okay.
Hopefully we can finalize for the next meeting. If, I don't know how many people are on for this right now, but at least we have their feedback on it now. The second thing I have is Bob gave you a quote that I forwarded for maintenance of our generators.
Mhm.
We'll call 3 of those at the sewer plant, 1 is at the water plant. The action item for you would approve the quote with common sales and service for $2,674.48. And this will be for inspections and maintenance work. Those generators.
Is there a motion to approve Cummins Sales and Service Contract for 2,674.48 for work on the generators? Motion made by Bill Clevenger, seconded by Rich. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you. Next is the Peerless proposal for the, or Peerless new well. Just an FYI that Bob has been talking to Peerless about the survey work. We also had a preliminary meeting with Wade. We've since heard back from IDEM that we will need to have proof of either ownership of that setback area and or a long-term easement agreement. So once we have the survey done and we know what we need there, we will approach Mr. McGee with that again.
Okay.
But we don't know yet how much of that is in our right of way and how much more is needed to meet the requirement with IDEM.
Okay.
Moving all the way to the Beach Lodge building. We now have a quote for that work from Thomas Excavating. Reminder that this is for us to add drainage for the surface level water that's getting into the buildings. Bob worked really hard to try to get some quotes for this, and we finally got one in from Thomas. Say the number out loud in the event you want to wait and try to get a second one, but we're having troubles getting quotes on some of these smaller jobs. So I am encouraging us to go ahead and move forward and get this taken care of.
Particularly Thomas, because they did other, work to assist with our drainage, in the sidewalk that's on the front of the lodge and also, some other areas. They're familiar with the area. And we've been satisfied with their work in the past. So I mean, I would be comfortable, with this, since we have a other contractor to provide, bids on this.
The only question is, this was not budgeted, so we probably have to.
Well,
Is
if
it
it's gonna hit
included?
next year, it'll
Yeah,
come out
it'll
of
be
next year's
okay.
budget.
Okay.
So we'll kind of do what we did this year and see where we're at the end of the year.
That makes sense. Okay.
I support Rich's, thinking on this. I think they've proven themselves. And I don't have a problem with this.
Yeah, it could be next summer before you got a second bid, so
Yeah.
I would say.
So
Is it
Rich-
okay if I make a motion
Sure it
to
is.
approve Thomas Excavating's bid of project cost estimate at $16,327?
Is there a second?
I second.
Motion made by Sally, seconded by Bill C. to approve the Thomas Excavating quote estimate for $16,327.
Point of information before you take a vote on it. Bob is comfortable that this will address the issues. Okay, thank you.
And is there timing when they might get the work done?
Not that I know of. We'll get back to you on a schedule.
Thank you. Okay.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the Thomas Excavating quote for $16,327. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay. Next on the list, and this is just really more of a FYI, give you time to look it over. Because I'm also going to present this to the redevelopment commission at their Monday meeting. And this is that our broadband task force team, received a proposal from Thomas Miller to work with consultant who used to head up Indiana Broadband. His name is Scott Rudd. You'll see his bio on that proposal. And basically the way this proposal would work is, they would provide our task force consulting at $150 an hour, not 250 hours in a month. They would need basically our permission to exceed that amount. And they would then bill us however many hours they use up to 6 months. We don't believe it will take that long or that many hours per month. So that's why we wanted an hourly rate with a not to exceed per month. Originally, they were just doing a flat fee for consulting. So I pushed back a little bit to ask for this type of contract. And, you know, the task force isn't sure if the council would want to take this on or ask redevelopment. So I'd like to present it to redevelopment because this is an important project to them. And I've been keeping them in the loop with our reports, so they're well aware of the project, and they have redevelopment people sitting on the task force with Bill Clevenger and Gary Parrott.
Mhm.
So right now, it's just this is what the contract looks like, and if you have any input or feedback you want me to take to redevelopment or back to the task force, let me know.
And after you go to redevelopment, you bring it back at the end of the month.
Yeah.
And let us know the results.
Okay.
Sound good, everybody?
Yep.
Sounds good, mate.
I think, yeah, I think the council's position on this has been this broadband as a critical service and our future as we go forward.
The next thing I wanted to cover with you is new information, and that is, for weeks, I've had no update on the Ready Grant stuff.
Mhm.
The governor announced today the recipients of those Ready Grants, and we're thrilled to say that South Bend Elkhart region, which Marshall County is part of, received one of the $50 million ones. And the Marshall County Crossroads team submitted multiple projects for that. Culver has 2 projects in it. You all approved the multi-generational basketball court project as well as a potential housing project. I know from Marty sent out some information earlier today. The Marshall County Crossroads team was one of the highlighted projects during the presentation downstate. So that's good news that the South Bend region, the partnership is supportive of that. And they also highlighted the Culver multi-generational basketball project in their presentation. And that's also good news. That means the partnership thinks those are strong projects. So there is going to be some work to be done. When we submitted these, you guys probably recall that short time frame we had. So basically the way they were submitted to the South Bend Regional Partnership was as concept projects, overall information. Now that they've received the award, there'll be a fuller application to submit. And I'm sure as being part of the Crossroads team that I'll be involved in some of that help. And of course, we'll get the 2 Culver projects in there in good shape. There's going to be some work to do there as well. So just a heads up that that's happening. It's great news for the county, and thrilled to see 2 Culver projects in there and
Super.
Marshall County Crossroads. Last thing is that I wanted to tell you about that's new information. Bill and Jeff and I met with Culver Academies on the emergency services agreement. After some discussion and some back and forth and sharing of data with them, they have agreed for the next 2 years to support the town of Culver emergency services with $30,000 each year, in addition to the $20,000 for the fire truck. And then after that 2-year period, when the fire truck is up, we'll look at continuing with the $50,000 beyond that, or see if we need to change anything at that time. I had asked them during our meeting if they would be okay with an MOU type of agreement, so that it's not just a handshake, and they were not. So I was going to do a little research the next week, run something by Jim, draft an MOU, have Jim take a look, and then send it over to them. With Bob and I trying to get the community crossings grant prepared, I probably won't touch this for a week or 2, depending on how the holidays go. But I just wanted to let you know that's good news for us. I think they've upped their contribution, and we're happy about that.
Yeah, that's good.
Getting that formalized. Yeah.
Thank you.
Does it, will this preclude individual billing for services like the football games for the EMS and inspection services from fire department at this point in time?
Yeah, we kind of talked about it. I think it was about 6,800 is what Jeff had figured out for EMS. They'd like us to not have a separate agreement for that, at least for the next 2 years.
Right.
They understand that it's, an expense to us. And they also do not care how we use, the 20,000 was obviously allocated for the
The truck.
The 30,000 is up to the pleasure of the council, how you would like that divvied up, or if you want to put it in general fund, or however you want to do it is fine with them. They don't want to specify to us how to use the money, in other words.
Okay.
So you guys can even talk about that at budget time, I suppose, right?
Good job.
Yeah.
And they did tell us to have Karen's already invoiced them for this year,
Mhm.
so they will take care of getting that paid. And they know that our fiscal year ends at the end of the year, where theirs
Right.
ends in June.
June.
So the 2 years thing is 2021 and 2022.
Yeah, basically.
Because they've already paid 60,000. On the
Right, it's
truck.
actually through 23
Three.
technically, because they knew they were gonna pay the 3rd year, and they still have 2 years on the truck. So I'll write it for 2022/2020.
Yeah, with the 30,000 in addition to that. then will be 2021,
Yeah,
2022, and
yeah.
2023.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Very good.
Okay, so I think that is all of the new news or action items that I had. And hopefully my department head team will correct me if I missed one of them.
Can I ask a couple questions?
Uh-huh.
I can do it separately. I assume last night the TIF resolution got approved by the,
It's
oh, it's next Monday.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
next Monday.
And then we're gonna get Phil going back on the annexation and the Tamarack Road.
Yeah.
Get
yeah. And
him figured out.
Phil did contact me about how to record the documents after the Monday and then after the council meeting. He's gonna train you tomorrow on
Oh, good.
that. The calls.
Okay.
Hopefully I won't screw that up. I might be taking you with me then.
Well, that's okay. I'm not sure I can be much help, so pay good attention to him.
I will. I'll take it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Yeah, I should have added that Phil's working with me. That's-
Okay, department head reports. Jeff is not available for EMS fire.
Doing everything tonight.
Thank you. Wayne?
Yeah, I got it. Last week we had another car involved in an accident. Two and a half. Joel. We had a pursuit last Monday. Drivable, usable. They will be covered by insurance on the other part. Haven't got confirmation of any of that yet. Other one's gonna be in the neighborhood of 4,000. That's with the spread, depending on the spread. Heads up.
Thank you.
Okay.
uh, Thing. Two guys are up to their year last week. $0.70 increase brings them up to the.
Council?
I don't have a problem in the motion.
Yep. Do it.
We're going to, okay, the motion would be to the two new officers get an increase of 70 cents an hour. Right, when
That in
move
the,
that we increase the wages of the new officers to 70 cents an hour.
I'll second that.
Oh, okay.
is that in the salary ordinance?
Yeah.
It is, okay. Just, well, most of it made and seconded to increase two new officers, 70% an hour increase. All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
The other thing is, those guys got out of the academy, we have roughly 105 days shifts to cover.
Mhm.
So we didn't get. Holiday time that needed taken. Reimbursing us for that. Karen and I already talked about them, how to work it in. End of the year.
And that procedure of that project program is?
Basically, he's gonna report it on the timesheets and we'll pay for that vacation and holiday and personal time that has gone unused. So we'll do that before the end of the year. Excuse me. The 2 date will hold over though, and that will be done, I'm sorry. He'll record it on the current payroll. That will be paid out next. Technically, it's on the 24th. And then because the new payroll starts next Monday, and that payroll also includes the new pay rate for 2022, because the salary ordinance states that the pay increases are included in the payroll. That includes January 1st. Because it's a Saturday, it's at the end of that 2-week payroll.
Right.
So there's still 26 weeks in each
Right.
year. But Christmas, New Year's Eve, sorry, Christmas Eve and Christmas would be included at the new pay rate. So I told him to hold out paying those two until the next pay period. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Because I don't want to chip them, but not have them pay
Right.
all that holiday and vacation time at a higher rate just because we waited.
Right.
Which is wouldn't be fair. So.
I'd make a motion that we make an exception to the policy based on the circumstances in 2021 and pay out the accrued and earned time in the police department, which for
I'll second that.
Motion been made and seconded. Made by Rich, seconded by Sally to pay out the, at the end of the year, the accrued vacation and time,
Holiday,
vacation, holiday,
personal.
vacation, holiday, personal time.
Maybe that was, if we didn't keep our.
All those,
those are the words you put in my mouth. when I made
That was the motion.
Yeah.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I really have, unless you have something.
Anybody got anything for Wayne?
No,
Park?
Nothing for me.
Thank you. Utilities, is Bob on the line?
Bob is. I have nothing for you. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Clerk's report.
I have 3 claims for your approval. One is for Brown Equipment Company for $2,013.61. And that was for repairs. The St. Mary's of the Lake Church for $4,643.25. They were participants in the sidewalk program and finally. And then finally, Tinny House for $9,088.75, and that was for.
Move to approve the claims in excess of 2,000.
Second.
Motion made by Bill Clevenger, seconded by Rich to approve the claims in excess of 2,000. All those in favor say aye.
aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay, then late this afternoon, which is probably why you have so many papers, which I apologize for that. I provided you a copy of the holiday for 2022 for your approval. As in addition to that, I would like to ask you to approve December 31st as the holiday for New Year's Day. So we actually have the extra holiday and you know, because January 1st would normally be a holiday. It's on Saturday. Typically, you take that holiday on Friday instead of waiting until Monday.
That the January 1st holiday is not in the calendar for 2022. Is that
Correct, because I'm proposing that we take it on December 31st.
Oh, so
Of
this year.
this year,
Got it.
yes.
Okay, I thought you meant-
Yeah, and it's something that I didn't catch last year when I was making the new calendar, so.
I
The
move
motion,
to approve the 2022 employee calendar.
there a second?
Second.
Motion been made by Bill Clevenger and seconded by Rich to approve the 2022 holiday calendar. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
We could also have a motion to approve December 31st as the New Year's holiday.
Motion to,
December 31st of 2021.
is there a motion to approve?
I will make that motion.
Motion to approve
December
31st
of
2021
2021 as
holiday.
I second.
Motion made by Sally, seconded by Bill to approve December 31st, 2021 is a holiday. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
So this serves as notice that we're gonna be closed on December 31st. So,
We're gonna have the same problem in 2022 with the New Year's. falling out.
2022, we'll do it on Monday.
So January 2nd.
It'll be, yeah, January 2nd. Yeah, this year it's just,
yeah.
Screw this year. Next,
I think. Oh. We will have in addition to the public hearing on unsafe buildings at the next meeting, we're also having a public hearing on additional appropriations. I think as late as we can possibly make it. So I put in a request, I'm requesting $60,000 in addition for the park fund. And that's because of the drainage issue that, and the sidewalk that we addressed this year that we didn't budget for. And then a total of 30,000 from the general fund, 20,000 would be for EMS. And that would be for additional costs that we had for the fourth full-time position that we didn't budget for. That was added at the end of last year. And then $10,000 for the fire department is that they've had a few necessary repairs that needed to be taken care of that went over and above what they had budgeted for. So I will have the public hearing, and then you'll need to pass an ordinance on first reading unanimously, and then second, suspend the rules, second and third. And then I will get that filed the next day and have it all done by December 30th, which the deadline is December 31st. So have a day spare.
we'll do all that on the meeting on the 28th. We'll do all that on the meeting on the 28th.
Yes, yes,
Got
I do through
Yeah.
it, but
Okay,
yeah, I didn't want to ask for more than we did.
got it.
So,
Okay. Anything else?
I guess.
Attorney's report.
Okay, he answered a couple of my items that I was gonna ask about, and Karen brought up about the public hearing on the new unsafe for the 28th. My colleague has been a little busy and hasn't gotten to reviewing that fully like I had hoped she would. So when we do get that, we'll try to get that out to all of you ahead of that meeting. We have a draft that I think I've shared with you already. If you had some comments, we've made some adjustments, and I'm sure there's going to be some additional ones, so we'll try to get that taken care of. You're all aware that the insurance carrier's attorney representing the town on the BIP Ventures et al. Case against Culver and county and township and fire department filed a, I thought, well-written memorandum in support of the motion to dismiss the plaintiff's complaint, as did Marshall County's insurance carrier council and Union Township and fire department. So both were filed. The first one was the town of Culver. County filed suit after that a week or so ago. Judge did finally set at least a tentative hearing date via Zoom for January 20th. I know that some of you folks are interested in listening in on that, and so we will figure out a way that if in fact that hearing goes, we'll be able to see what our councils have to say about the matter. So just so you know, there can be a lot of things that would impact that hearing date.
Right.
The plaintiff could file an amended complaint that could address and maybe take care of some of those items that are in the motion to dismiss. You know, it's going to be an interesting amendment to do all those things, but I suppose it could happen. And then there's also a whole host of other possible options that I think I've indicated a couple. So I'll keep you advised on all that, and that's a ways off, so no problem with that. And then just from an earlier discussion tonight about your raises for the council, don't you have a couple of council members coming up for election next year?
Right.
Right.
And there is, as I recall, some kind of a statute out there that frowns on increasing salaries for for the elected people that are coming on board, like
Oh, really?
right away. So I understand that you're not interested in an increase this year, but I guess what I'm telling you is for those of you that might be up in 2 years, you might feel even more uncomfortable addressing an increase if you are then also running for or have been recently elected to a new spot. So
Yeah.
you may want to give or reconsider that, at least thinking, an increase to take effect, not in 2022, but in 2023. And, just to go along with that, I'm a bit in the Bill Giddens camp, I'm afraid. I understand you guys are not in this, for the money, you're in it for the best interest of Culver, and I admire you and applaud you for that. But we don't want, this thing to get so low that it isn't a deterrent to future council members that are, good people, qualified, and just, are just don't have necessarily the high goals that you all do about doing this for the good and best interest of Culver, and understand that you're, where you are. So just my 2 cents that you probably didn't need to have, but threw it out
I
there.
appreciate it. Thank you.
And that's all I have.
Okay. Anyone present or online for utilities shut off for an ordinance violation? Hearing or seeing none, we'll move on to citizen input. Anyone online for citizen input? If so, please state your name and address and speak. Hearing none, is there anyone in the room on citizen input? Jim?
Revolves around this TIF thing. Are we on schedule to get this done the way we want it done by the end of the year or first of the year, or whatever?
Right.
Yes.
I think the redevelopment commission approves the resolution next Monday, and
Yeah.
you're going to see
It's okay. As long
a
as we-
refreshing and an upgrade of where we wanted to be, and
Okay.
Yes.
They got it done in a short period of time, which we knew there was a
The maps.
closed window. Yep.
We will have to record.
Thank you for
that.
asking the question, though. That's a good point.
I just didn't want it to fall through the cracks again.
no, there's been a lot of work that you haven't probably
Right.
seen that's taken place.
Thank you.
Anyone else on citizen input? Council issues. Rich?
Nothing except to thank Karen for all of her work with the salary ordinance. I know it's the end of the year is her favorite time.
Not as much as the first 3 years.
That and when we fully have it. That's it.
Bill?
I have nothing except to thank Karen.
I'd like to thank Karen and then also wish everyone a Merry Christmas. That's gonna fall before our next
Right,
meeting.
meeting.
Yeah.
I agree. I want to thank Karen for all the work she's been doing and wish everyone a Merry Christmas. And I want to thank Karen for the work she did for the Christmas party.
Yes.
It was, fun time was had by all, and we went over to the school and packed boxes and I understand from Marlene that she was really appreciative.
She repeated on, when I stopped on Sunday, she said to thank everybody again.
Yeah,
And thanking people for that, I think to the fire department,
Yeah.
EMS services.
right.
For delivering those baskets, and, one day.
It was a, you know,
It's a great statement for the community.
community effort, It really was.
Larry, what, did you say how many baskets? 175. Okay. I know there were a lot of baskets.
That's what we're.
Sure to play.
Well, just,
I'll
Jenny, do you have
second that.
anything?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're
Let me
not
ask
done?
Jenny if she has anything else.
Well, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank Karen as well, but I also wanted to thank the department heads, staff for a good year. A lot of projects covered in this past year, a lot of changes, as well as me personally. And it's really nice to work with a group of people who are like a net underneath you when you have the kind of year that I have. And I just think they're fabulous people to work with, and I'm excited that some of them are going to get a little break over the holidays. And I appreciate very much the team that we have here. And then.
Thank you. Karen? Karen, thank you very much for all you do for us.
Yeah,
sir.
no, Merry Christmas to everybody.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn?
Yes, I do that.
Is there a second? Motion been made second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, in volume, just sort of dragging it out, because he had.
Yeah.
Yeah, 8 minutes, you got the over.
I know, but you never spoke so slowly.
Are you offline?
Yeah.